Hey, hi guys. I'm just gonna do this pre pre of my book that I've been talking about, and I've been posting some video about it. So I'm gonna just walk through what will be on the book and what the purpose why I wrote the book, and so many ideas. So that's why I try to do like piece of videos, so that ways I don't have to take all your time, because I think you you have the time you have. I think it's every time like you watch a video on my channel like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I think it's a special time, so I don't want to waste your time. So that's why I've been doing like 10 minutes and 5 minutes videos to walk you through what's on the book. But mainly is the book is like, and the purpose of the book is the roots. It's an essay, so it's basically it's in like a lot of topics in there, like an essay style. And the other thing too, the why I start writing the book, which is so many people influence my ideas, and so many books too. And some of the first, I think the things that influences is the poverty and the money. And I discovered the money in United States, and I live the poverty back home in my village. And some of the people that they've been influencing my ideas, I think one of them, I think George Washington. I like how did he fight the war against the Great Britain with those militias, and as a commander in chief for to take over, to kick out the Europeans. So that's why they have independence. That's why we have the air flights. And the other one too is Abraham Lincoln. And I like the way that he ended the slavery in the United States history. And one more person too, I think, is Ernesto Guevara, that he got killed in Bolivia, and the other things too. And I think Fidel too had influenced a little bit, and Chavez, and but more the historic figure in our time in our America. Those are the ones have influenced me to become with the idea with the flag, which is Atahualpa, Tecum, Uman, Geronimo, Montezuma, and all these king that they fight against those invaders, Europeans, during the 14th century, 16th century, 15th century, 17th century, 18th centuries. So, and the other things too, that's the book that I read. The first one I read, that's the Bible, and then the Constitution of the United States. And one of the writer that I read his book too, Henry Kissinger. He write a book, I think under Jimmy Carter. I think he served as a Jimmy Carter state secretary. That he wrote a book. It called the U.S. Foreign Policies. I think I still have the book that influences me too. It's a beautiful book, and all these books is like the fifth edition of the Latin American history. And the other thing too is the Pluton. Pluton, one of the oldest writers in Greece, that start talking about republic and democracy, and that's why the other book I read, and Popol Vuh too, and I read the first, probably one of the first Mayan book, because this is the first one too in our time. And the other people too that influenced me is Martin Luther King, that he got killed in the United States, and one woman too, that Rosa Parks, and all other women that they've been fighting side to side with all this figure in our history. So that's why I start writing. And then the second, when I left the country to go there, it's about Belice and Falklands of Island of Falklands and Essequibo. If you guys don't know about it, it's the territories that the England still occupying in our continent, which is Belize, Essequibo, Venezuela, and the islands of Falklands that belongs to Argentine. That they in 1982, Argentine, they went to war with Great Britain. So because Great Britain, they have all these territories during the centuries, 15th century, 16th, 17th, 18th centuries, in all these like small colonies that being occupied. The same story too about the Belize before the independence, like 1821. So the king of Spain, they give them the permit to take all the finest good in the side of Guatemala's lands. So after the independence, so they become as a colonial occupying the Maya's territory. So that's why my main point to travel to left the country. And then after that, I start learning more about what's going on about the political side of back home. So that's why I start seeing all this corruption with all the political parties and all this organization. And I think all the parties to entire country, they should be cancelled and they should be jailed, because I saw that I think they used me as part of corruption. That's why I say during the writing of this book, 27 and 29, I was part of it. And I took money from Sandra Torres' hand, and I give it to one of the biggest union workers in the country, which is the education. All these teachers, they are under a union, and so that's why they every year, every time that the new government comes in, they start on strike, and they start demanding all these war agreements, that which is like they call it pacto colectivos, which is collective agreement of the workers. So that's why but it's a lot of corruption. Like I say, one of the main things should be in jail now is Alvaro Colom, Sandra Torres, Joviel Acevedo, and Roberto Alejos, and Orlando Blanco. Those are the three people that I know. They bring money to the organization, which I will talk about when I have the book on my hand. So this about corruption, and then all this the other thing too. It was the third part of the book, which is the US aid. You know that the US aid that they've been have program in different countries, and that they help the organizations, the demanding like human rights, demanding the better education, demanding the better health care, how to create an economy with the communities. But I saw that USAID, which is the United States Agency International Development Foreign Aid Assistance. But in Guatemala, I saw those union workers. They have workshops with this United States agency, but they don't do it. So they just faking up all these reports to the organization. But as we see now, to Venezuelan problem, that this US aid that has given $52 million to Guaido, the guy, he raised his hand in the middle of the street and he said like he is the president of Venezuela. And then the government of this administration has given 120 million to the opposition in Venezuela. So what it takes here, I realize that the USAID is like an FBI agency, that they look in what capacity that the organization they have to overthrow a government, or they looking at any organization that they become stronger and they become demanding all these constitution problems, social issues, economic issues. So that's why they already working in the country. So it's much easier to give money to a position to overthrow a government, just like I said about Venezuela. And then the other one too is the Intercontinental Bank, which is the IBF, and then which is founded in 1959, and then the Organization of the States of the Americas, which is the OAS or OEA, the Estados Americanos de America, and same thing too. I saw those union workers that they supposed to have all these workshops, talks with the teachers, but they never did it, and I was part of it. I was faking and signing papers, signing names that I don't even know. So all these union leaders, they took the money from the International of Education, which is run by the state of the state of the Americas, which is OEA. So it gives the money to this organization, which is Education International, which is back then which was run with one of the leader, I think, from Costa Rica, Cumberti, which is I talk about in the book too. So it's really corrupted system, and then all this international organization that is run by United States government, they using them as a intelligence to get more information about all what's going on in each country. And then I decided to start writing this book too, because I think I know the history. I talk about revolutions in this book too, and revolution has been a story of bloody change in governments, republics, and societies fighting each other. One of them like is the French Revolution, and then the Russian Revolution, and then the 13th Colonial Revolution, and then all this the Iranian Revolution, which I talk about. It was bloody, and so that's why I start like talking about in evolution. Like evolution should be like the transition that we can make change, not killing each other. Just like the money, who invented the money paper, which is I talk about it in the book too, which is printed money. The World Bank, the Intercontinental Bank, the national banks in the countries, and one of the greatest country that start using paper money was China. I think during the 17th centuries. But then during Reagan's presidency in the United States, the dollar became more powerful in those all international transactions. But today, I think, has lost any power after all what's going on with the government today. We see, and but that's just the parts that I've been talking about, the things that I was doing, and then this the ideas and thoughts, and like in generals, the ideas and thoughts in my book is how to change the system, because I think we have to change it. Now there's the economic system is destroying the wildlife, is destroying communities, is killing our brothers and sisters as culture. Because like me, I lost my language. It's all about money. I speak in English, start speaking Spanish, because if I speak my maternal language, I can't survive. So that's why the system is killing wildlife, is killing the human in dignity, is killing the human history, which is they trying to kill my language. That's why I so sad that I'm not talking in my own language. I'm not reading in my own language. But it's all about the system. It's all about the money. It's destroying everything. So each day, each month, each year, the system is killing the human's future. So this book basically is more about the kids. It's more about the next generation, so they can learn about the history, that what we should do. And then all the Spanish and English language shouldn't be in the constitutions in each country. The United States Constitution shouldn't be the English as the official language, because English is the European, should be the America's language. And then the other, the Spanish language too, in Mexico, Central America, South America, shouldn't be in the Constitution too, because as each country, there is a lot of ethnic Native American people that they still speak in their language, that they still resisting culturally, politically, socially. So that's why I'm demanding on this book that all these Spanish-speaking countries, we should remove all the Spanish word in the Constitution. We should replace it with a bilingual language, when it becomes to our people. That's why the first book is the America's language, bilingual language. Not Spanish, not English, is the America's language. So that's why I talk about it too. So and then there is the flags. As you know, this flag has a history, and the history, it has changed all the time since the Betsy Ross, after George Washington kicked out the Europeans. 1776, the Philadelphia Constitution. So Betsy Ross, she became with us with this flag, which is 13 like stripes, which is represents the 13th colony. And then back then they have the star, the white star, the circle ones. So there was the 13th star too. So they were talking about the 13th colony flag. And then since the country has been changing, there has been economically, socially, politically. So the flag too has changed, which is like all this has becoming like during all the January 1776, which is the Betsy Ross flag, and then the 1818 with the stripes flags with under Monroe, the President Monroe, which the Monroe, that's the doctrine Monroe. They were trying to occupy the entire continent, but they couldn't do it because back then there was all the history too about Simon Bolivar and all that's going on. And then January 1959, Eisenhower, about an executive order, they changed the flag too. And then the latest change they did is in August 21, 1959, Eisenhower too. And then they changed all the horizontal 11 rows, vertical stars, and then they did it by the executive order. So the flag has been changing all the time. And now I think we start talking about that's why I call it the United Diversity flag, because we have to understand that the United States has changed. And then if you see here, and then the 51 start, and then they wouldn't be talking about Puerto Rico to become 51 states of the United States, but I will do another video about it, because we add a start for this flag. And this flag, that black, each black star here, that is to honor all these Africans that they brought here to work as a slave, that they built the White House, they built the road, they worked for free. So they must be some something to identify the history of the country. And then this shape of the house, that I call it the house that the pilgrims found when they come here to United States. That the house of the Navajos, Tojonos, the Native American, that we used to have a house like this with the pilgrims that they find when they come the first time they come here. So that's why they have this in the color brown, that which is, as you can see my skin, I think I'm brown. It's all for the brown people in the entire continent too. So that's why. And the main history of this flag, I think it's a revolutionary flag. It's a revolutionary, they identify as a revolutionary fight, because George Washington, he fight not like as all this machine that the United States have now, like invading another country. George Washington fight side by side with hard-working people with no college degree, and they fight as a guerrillas fight. As you see the history of the George Washington, how did they fight against the Great Britain? It's a guerrillas warfare, and they won, and they found this flag, and they found the country that which is the United States we know today. But I know that the United States has a history with the Mexico too, that the more than half of the country of the United States used to belong to Mexico, but Santana, and then the treasury of Hidalgo during 18th centuries, and then the 19th centuries, after revolutions, Pancho Villa, he was trying to take over the Texas and California, and we know the history about the Alamos too, the Alamos history. So there is the history, there is a fight that still and should be refreshing in this book, the first book, which is America Patria Grande, APG, the Great Patriotism for America. So that's why it's like a book is an essay book that has a lot of contents in it, but most of it, all this I was telling you about it, and I hope to explain more you about what's going on in the book and what will be in the book, so that way you can make your own mind. And then reading is like a medicine for our brain. It's the only way we can make our vision stronger and clearly what we want to do as any artist or anything any major of the society you want to be, a scientist or athletics or politicians or someone that you can become. But the only way you can become better is reading, because reading, it will take you to make the change that our society needs. Thank you guys, and share this video.